the whole idea of tango was very hard for me to grasp because I was thinking very objectively. It's like here's point A, here's point B. Like I'm playing basketball, I want to throw the ball and get it in the bucket.
Right.
Tell me how to get it into the bucket. You know,
Yes.
and they're just like, well,
You could do this, and
or
this
you
is
could
an
do,
option.
yeah. Well, see, there's different. That's an option. It's more like we're at the free throw, right? And so, bend your knees and shoot, and then don't bend your knees and shoot. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Like.
All right, we are back with another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot, and today we're going to be talking about the Great Reset. Oftentimes in tango, it's very discouraging for a lot of people because you'll often hear that you have to unlearn what you already learned. And that becomes really painful the further you get in because you're more invested. You spend money on classes, you spend money on privates, you spend time and money at milongas and dancing with other people, trying to find all the ways to get better at this dance we call tango. And then someone tells you everything you learned, you need to forget. That is heartbreaking. What's your experience with that, Rob? Because I actually was very privileged to and lucky to have an instructor early on in my tango life or whatever you want to call it say, all right, everything you learned for the last year, it's not that, it's this. And so I learned early on that, okay, I'm going to have to just discard things that I thought were the normal truths of tango and come find out that it's something else.
So I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna admit to something here that I know is true, and I think a lot of people do this also, but they just don't want to admit it. And that is, I really didn't reset until this past year.
That's like a decade.
I know, like, because the thing is, like, I've heard that before, like, oh, you need to like go back
Go
and
back to the basics.
yeah, take beginner classes again, unlearn stuff, learn stuff again. But I thought I was smarter than that.
You thought you were just gonna
No,
shortchange the system.
yeah, I thought I was thinking, I thought I could have like almost like a multiple personality disorder kind of a thing, where it's like, okay, I can get to like Fabian mode, and then like I get into like Jorge mode, and I was thinking I was compartmentalizing all these ideas.
I mean, to be fair, you could. I feel like I do that.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
but it is. But the thing is, to me, that wasn't like a true reset for me. It was just compartmentalizing, and then just going, but because I was still piggybacking on ideas that I felt were really true. It
Right.
was just like kind of like, oh well, I'm just gonna modify this here, modify that there for this, modify that. It wasn't like a true reset, and I think, um, yeah, I don't think I had a true reset until like I busted my leg.
The contradictions in tango can become really overwhelming because for a whole year you'll have somebody saying it's all about the embrace and how you hold somebody and it comes from your core and your upper body, and then maybe years from there you'll realize no, it comes from the ground, it comes from how you change weight and all these things, and it becomes very discouraging because I thought you told me it was about the embrace, and now you're saying it's something else. But then they're saying, but don't forget that, but include this. And so it all gets very confusing over the long run, which is why this dance is so freaking hard.
Yeah. The thing that got me that hit me the hardest was chest to chest connection.
Chest to chest connection.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, you connect with the chest and everything.
Mm.
And then as you get on, as you learn more, it's almost like,
The
yeah,
chest lies.
well, it's almost like, okay, well, now it's like this back to back connection. And then
Yeah.
it's like, no, you need to shift your connection point based on like their height. And that's like, no, you need to like feel the floor through them. And it's like, so it's almost like, uh, the hard part is it's all true.
Yes, that's the sad. The most. That's the most difficult part. Is yes, you're right. Everything that someone has said has some validity to it. Is true.
You know,
That's heartbreaking.
yeah, but I think what it is not that you need to unlearn it. It's just more that you need to understand the other side of it to have a more holistic idea of this dance. And sometimes, unfortunately, that means like erasing everything and going carte blanche because you have that information in your body because of through muscle memory.
Right.
But you need to then start applying other ideas and other things so that you can find a more holistic idea of this because you know it's not like ballroom. There's no textbook tango, and in a sense, the only way you really get it is by you know throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it, and
And hoping something sticks.
yeah, it's seriously like throwing darts in the dark, and it's like oh um, yeah. So it's really hard. It's really discouraging, especially like when you feel accomplished, and then you go oh back to learning how to walk again. It's it is discouraging because then, even for me, like it took me 10, 12 years to get here. And then the only reason why I really did reset was because,
You tore your
yeah, I
ACL.
tore my ACL. And it's like, well, I need to learn how to walk again. I really need to learn how to walk again because because I couldn't walk.
Right.
So, uh, yeah. And unfortunately, like, here's the sad truth, which is if I didn't injure myself, I probably would never reset and just kind of like nod my head when everyone says, "Oh yeah, you gotta take beginner classes again. Oh yeah, you have to do all these things." I'd probably just nod my head, go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah."
It takes a lot of, I hate to use the word courage because there's so many other things that deem courage greater, but it does take something like that to say all the things that you've spent, all the things that you've done, now we have to do something different. It's because we hold on to these things very dearly.
Mhm.
It's like you invested all these things. That's what makes people stick in tango. For if you make it past a certain barrier point, the reason why people keep dancing in this dance is because they've invested so much. You're like you're in too deep. You just can't.
You know,
What am I gonna do? I can't not do it. Yeah.
I sorry, I just think of like Morpheus with the red pill and blue pill. It's like, do you want to continue dancing the way you dance, or do you want to find the real thing and forget everything? The choice is yours. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, it really is tough, and it does take a certain amount of courage. Wait, what is that allegory? I can't remember. It was that whole Plato thing where there's like the shadows of the cave,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then when he finally knows the truth, he actually goes out to the real
That's
world.
Plato, I think,
It
right?
is Plato, I think, but and then he's trying to get the other two guys to come out with him, but they were like, no, no, this is the world. The world is these shadow puppets. Um, no, it really does take courage because you have to defy like you have to trust the method oh my god the
Trust the
method
process.
but
That it'll all eventually unfold and work your way.
it yes, but the sad part is it's like when you trust the process, it's like it's a process that no one else is going with you. So like you're going alone, you know. And even like you might have done it and I might have done it. It's like if I did it again, I'm still going alone because it's everyone's personal journey and like yeah, you might be there to support me, but still it's like
You gotta jump off that cliff
yeah,
yourself.
there's no Thelma and Louise in this one. You know, it's a long, lonely road. I mean, but it's true though because it's like you can't be there like moving my leg for me and like I have to do it myself, and it's almost like to have the courage to actually do it, trust that it's there, and then look around and see everyone else not make that decision because they're having fun at the Malongas and because like when you start over, you do kind of do take like 2 to 3 steps back,
Yes, yes.
because you're relearning everything again, and you're trying not to fall back on your old habits.
Right.
So
That's the toughest part. Because everything it just feels wrong at first.
yeah,
Because it's so different from what you normally do.
yeah,
It just feels wrong
yeah,
until it feels right. And then you're like, why didn't I do that way earlier?
yeah. Or it could still feel wrong. You're like, oh, like you just cross your fingers,
Right.
because
That's true.
like sometimes like I'll do things and like it will feel wrong for a long time. Like even now, when I'm trying to be more upright, it still feels wrong to me because like I'm so used to leaning forward and like feeling like I want to feel the person,
Right.
and now it feels like everything's so shallow when I'm more upright, and I'm like, do I want to do this? Like, I felt so much good back then, you know? So it does. It's tough because I think a lot of people don't reset, and then it's hard to relate, you know, because
Well, do you think that they don't reset because they don't believe they need to reset?
that's a good question. I don't know.
Because if maybe they don't even have the option, maybe they don't even have the option of the blue pill and the red pill
Yeah,
Morpheus thing.
yeah, or
They don't even know that exists. That's
yeah,
a choice in their mind.
yeah, or either that, or the teachers never told them to like, hey, it's time. You know, you were very fortunate to have Brian tell you that. You know,
Right.
but for me, I mean, like I had, I was told that, but I chose not to because I was like, I could beat the system, you know, I could beat like, yeah, because like, and that's the problem. It's like, you know, because you can think like, at least for me, I thought like, oh, I was really good at compartmentalizing, so I thought I could beat the system. But you know, looking at it now that I'm like really reset and like had to learn everything all over again, um, no, like you know, it would have been better for me to like like just hit the reset button back then, but I chose not to, and a lot of it was because I thought I can compartmentalize everything and like there's no need to reset.
So what Brian did, now that I'm looking back at how he conducted his private lessons with me early on, we would do a private, and then several weeks later we do another private, and then we do 3 weeks later we do another private, and he would always lead with this. Remember the last thing I told you? Remember the thing we covered last time in private? Forget that. It's really this. And so he always put me through the roller coaster of teaching me something, giving me a concept, trying this thing, and then the next time or next few things when he feels like I'm ready, he goes, "All right, it's not really that. It's this." And so I think that really helped because it just made me think that nothing is truly permanent. You're always adapting and finding some new truth
Mm.
in your own personal journey and experience. And then you have to be a good enough teacher to recognize whether or not that person is ready to hear this or ready to adjust accordingly.
You know, and I think this is the hard part as a student. Let's say you hear that, right? Because I've heard that from James Friedman also. You know, because he'll say something like, "Oh yeah, do it this way, and try the other way,"
Yeah,
and like and like you know like just do what works for you. And in my head, I'm like, "Aren't you the teacher?" You
yeah.
know, like seriously, because like I was just like, I thought you're the expert. You should know. Like, what are you teaching me? You're teaching me to like hypotheticals.
Yeah,
You know,
there are many possibilities and there are no mistakes in tango.
I
There's
understand.
just opportunities.
I understand that, but like as like a new consumer,
Mhm.
you know that like I think it's the whole idea of tango was very hard for me to grasp because I was thinking very objectively. It's like here's point A, here's point B, you know, like I'm playing basketball, I want to throw the ball and get it in the bucket.
Right.
Tell me how to get it into the bucket, you know?
Yes.
And they're just like, well, you
You could
know,
do this, and
or
this
you
is
could
an
do this.
option.
Yeah. Well, see, there's different. That's an option. It's more like we're at the free throw, right? And so, you know, bend your knees and shoot, and then don't bend your knees and shoot. And I'm like, what the hell, man? You know, like, isn't
Project.
yeah,
Don't project. You're projecting too much. You're
yeah.
projecting not enough.
So that's what I mean. It's like art. So it takes like a certain amount of like courage for the student to like really trust the teacher and like trust the process because sometimes it sounds absurd. You know, I mean, like how would you feel if you took a math class and like 2 plus 2 is 4, but sometimes it's not 4, and sometimes 2 plus 2 is 5. You know, I like what the heck?
That's true. People, I feel, get so hell bent on trying to find that 2 plus 2 equals 4, especially in the beginning. They're like, "Am I doing this right? Is this right? Is this correct? What else do I need to do now that I've learned this? Is this the next thing I have to learn?" Like, and there is no standardized thing.
Yeah,
There are many people that have tried
yeah,
to create a standardized curriculum, and by all means, those things do a good job of introducing concepts, introducing ideas, introducing sequences, introducing different patterns. But there is also the contradiction of those things,
yeah.
the opposite side of the coin.
You know, and going on this, and I don't mean to throw any teachers under the bus on this one, but the one thing that really bothers me is when sometimes like when going this whole reset thing and like they will give a concept and it's so esoteric that it doesn't really like answer the question. If I'm like, hey teacher, like am I doing this right? Like, do you feel the energy? I'm like, yes, I think. They're like, oh yeah, feel the. You'll know when you feel the energy. And like, it's true, but like at the same time, like you didn't answer my question because I don't know if that applies or not.
Well, to be fair, there is no one size fits all answer. You just explained that everyone has their own personal journey in tango, and
You,
so you have to self discover that.
I know, but as like like the person searching for 2 + 2 = 4.
Yes.
That was like that set me off so much. Like I was just like, what am I paying you for? Like what kind of answer is that?
Give me the answer. Yeah.
Like yeah, I paid for the answer. I expect to know the answer so that at least I could attempt to do it. Like you're giving me this whole like, oh, it's in the air. I'm like, what? So that goes back to the one quote I always hate from people.
Yeah.
Tango is like drinking mate at a park in Buenos Aires. Like like when I hear that, like I wanna throw a rock at somebody.
Well, you have to experience, right? You have to see it for yourself. You have to go to the places where all these songs are naming all the streets
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all you have to know the places they're talking about
y-
in the songs.
Yeah, if you said that to me,
Yes.
okay. I'm like, all right. So I can get that. Like, there's a history you have to experience, and the best way to experience it is go to the site of the history. I get that, but like it's presented in this riddle, you know, like. What does mate have to do with tango besides the Argentine culture? Like, what does an old man in the park have to do with this? And like, like it drives me nuts. Like it still pisses me off when I hear that today. I mean, I get what they're saying, but like it's it it's like this old sometimes it feels like something to say to sound smart and not answer the question.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. A good friend of ours who lived in BA and has come back recently, they were talking about, well, you really have to know the lyrics of these songs because then you would dance differently.
Yeah.
It's almost like if you saw somebody in the national, and this is their example, if you saw someone, they're playing the Star Spangled Banner,
Hmm.
our national anthem,
Yes.
and you saw somebody twerking to
Oh,
the Star Spangled Banner.
hell no.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. If you actually knew what the song meant and if you knew what the lyrics were, you would never twerk
Yeah.
to the Star Spangled Banner.
Great.
And so, in the same kind of concept, if you knew the lyrics of some of these tango songs and you knew what they were actually talking about, you wouldn't be dancing with smiley faces and hopping around in that same fashion.
No, I agree. Okay.
Right?
But that's what I want people to say. I want people to say, you know what? To understand tango, you have to understand the music and the lyrics, and the best way to do that is to go to the source. So yeah, you understand the cultural context of the lyrics and these songs. I'll take that. That is like digestible to me. But this whole like, it's almost like it's like freaking like kung fu, where they're like, grasshopper, grab the rock from my hand. And it's like, what are you talking about? And I get this is like a whole like Mr. Miyagi wax on, wax off moment.
Right.
But I am that frustrated Daniel, where I'm just like you are talking nonsense. Like there is no tango that that I'm learning here. You're just like talking nonsense. But so like if you just teachers just tell people the lyrics have meaning, and it's best for you to go to the source and discover what it means to you. That is, if someone said that, I'd be like, yes, I understand. But like I'm not that smart of a guy, or I'm not even that patient of a guy to like do the whole riddle thing.
Right. Well, people are paying to get a
shortcut.
Yeah, in a way. I saw an interview, and there's some lot of great interviews out there online and YouTube, and there was one with Gabriel Angel and Natalia, and what was it was it was Gabi, and he was talking about this where people pay to go to give them the answer, the solution, and so all these teachers are setting up all these destinations for these tourists. Like here's the spot, here's this place, here's this place, but the whole idea of tango is to find those places and not know where they are, but to search and look for those places. And in that search of trying to find those destinations, you will find all these other things. And that in itself is the things that's valuable,
Yeah. You know
not the destination.
yeah. You know what's really funny?
What?
There are things that I accept in martial arts. That's the same. It's the same concept, the same idea.
Right.
But I have such a hard time accepting it in tango.
Why?
Like maybe because like I love like kung fu movies and everything.
Yeah.
So like it's just like something I accept.
Mhm.
But like so there's idea like when you reach like the highest levels of like karate, kung fu, whatever, they'll be like, you have to develop a technique that could kill a dragon. And like you'll never be able to test it because dragons don't exist anymore. You
Right.
know. But it's that concept, this idea to like harness that kind of power.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, makes sense. But going back to the whole drinking mate thing in the park, it's just so foreign to me. You know, I'm like, I don't know. That's just like that's just one thing like that's like I just can't shake. You know.
I hear you. I hear you. But yeah, let us know what you think about this whole journey of self-discovery and the biggest issue of you having to discard a lot of the things that you quote unquote learned. So let us know in the comments. Have you had the same journey as us? Have you had to discard some things? Have you had to push the great reset button? We would like to know and find out from all of y'all. But thank y'all so much, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thank you for watching Left Foot, Right Foot. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and note that notification bell so you can keep up to date with us with each of our new releases.
Thank you all so much. We are so close to 500 subscribers, and we plan to do a giveaway once we reach that mark. It's been such a tremendous journey so far on this YouTube platform, and we have all of you to thank. So thank you so much, and we're going to keep this momentum going.